Dear all, today we are going to discuss about quantifiers. So here in this particular chapter, we are going to discuss about the definitions of open statement, then open quantifier, then different types of quantifiers, and some of the problems that are related to quantifiers. To understand these particular quantifiers, we need to know what are this NRZQC represents. Okay, so if you look at all these are all related to sets. So N is a set of all natural numbers, R is set of real numbers, then Z is set of all integers, Q is set of all rational numbers, and C is set of complex numbers. Now to start with, we will see what exactly the open statement means. So before I go ahead with the actual definition of open statement, now consider the three different variables x, y, z. Okay. So now I will write one p of x which denotes x is less than or equal to 5, and there are another one which contains two different variables q of x comma y, which is x plus x plus 5 is equal to y. Then another one which uh, contains three different variables x, y, z, is x square plus y square is equal to z square. Now if you look at all these three statements, the p of x may be true or may be false depending on the value of x. Okay, so if x is equal to 1, then p of x is true. If x is equal to 7, then which is false. Similarly, with respect to q of x, y, and third one is r of x, y, z. So hence, such statements, okay, which can be true or false according to the values of the variables which are specified here. So such statements are called as open statements. Okay, so hence I have written here these statements can be true or false according as the values for variables are specified. Statements of such kind are called as open statements. Okay. So next is, if you look at the same example what I have previously written, P of 1 is true, P of 2 is true, P of 3 is true, because 1 is less than or equal to 5, 2 is less than or equal to 5, 3 is less than or equal to 5. So this is the true case. If you look at another one, a P of 6, that is 6 less than or equal to 5, P of 7 less than or equal to 5, P8 less than or equal to 5, which is a false one. So depending on the value of x, so P of 1, P of 2, P of 3, or P of 6, P of 7, P of 8 will be either true or false. Same thing if you look at with the two variables, if q of 1 comma 6, if you write here x is equal to 1, 1 plus 5 is equal to 6, that is true. Second one, if the value of x is equal to minus 5, then minus 5 plus 5 is equal to y, that is 0, and which is given here. At the same time, q of 95 comma 100 is also true. If you substitute the value of x as 95 plus 5 is equal to 100, which is the value of y. So now in other case, if you take q of 1 comma 7, which is 1 plus 5, which is 6, which is equal to 7, is wrong one. So hence, so all these three statements are false statement. Similarly, when there are three different variables, if you look at 3 comma 4 comma 5, that is 3 square plus 4 square is equal to 5 square, that is 3 plus 16 is equal to 25, which is 5 square. Okay, so that is also true. At the same time, r is equal to r of 6, 8, 10, that is 6 square plus 8 square is equal to 10 square, that is 36 plus 64 is equal to 100. So this particular statement is also true. Now if you look at 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, which is 1 square plus 2 square is equal to 3 square, which is the wrong one, that is false one. So hence, so these are all two different examples for false statement. So now your p of x, that is a statement, is either true or false depending on the value of x. So that is how you look at here. An open statement. An open statement. It is a sentence which involves one or more variables, which turns out as statement when variable s takes a permissible values. So these statements may either true or false. Okay, we have seen the examples. Now in the previous examples, p of x, q of x comma y, r of x comma y comma z are called as open statements. Now to define a quantifier, any open statement, okay, any open statement involving the words of the form for all and for some, okay, with some reference to the variable involved are called as quantifiers. Since quantity is involved with this, hence it is called as a quantifier. So p of x may be true for all the statements. So then the p of x is said to be a quantifier. P of x may be true for some variable. So that means what? This particular p of x, which is an open statement which contains some of the forms for all and for some, such statements are called as a quantifier. Okay. Next is the sentence involved with the words with this particular type for all or for every for all for every exist, and which is represented by this particular symbol. Okay, so these quantifiers which contains for all words, such quantifiers are called as universal quantifiers. Next is existential quantifiers. That is, any the sentences which are involved with the words of the type some or there exist, and these type of sentences are called as existential quantifiers. If you look at the symbol which is used is this one, that is for some or there exist. So now this is how we are going to define universal quantifier and existential quantifier. Now any statement, okay, any statement, or you can call this as a predicate also, which involved either of these two, either of these two quantifiers are called as quantified statement. So the quantified statement is a statement which involves either for all or for some. Okay. Now, if you look at the when this particular uh, quantified statement is true or false, so that is decided by the following conditions, with the following two different conditions. So the truth value of a quantified statement, so which involves either or for all or for some, is decided as follows with reference to this particular open statement, that is predicate P of x, where x belongs to S. Okay. Now look at this. For all x, for all x, if P of x is true, only when P of x is true for all the values of x that belongs to S. So that is P of x becomes true if the P of x is true for each and every value of x which are present in S. Even if it is false for one particular statement, then P of x is false. Okay. Now for some x, P of x is false only when P of x is false for every value of x which belongs to S. That is, P of x should be false, okay, which belongs to S. Otherwise, it is true. Okay. Now, this is how we are going to find out the truth value of a particular quantified statement which involves for all x and for some x. Now, another important point is how we are going to write down the negation of that particular quantified statement. The negation of a quantified statement P of x, where x belongs to S, is written as, if you look here, for all negation of for all x P of x, for all x P of x. So negation of this particular statement will be for all becomes for some. Okay, for all becomes for some, and this negation comes inside the bracket, that is negation of P of x. This is how we are going to write down the negation of a particular quantified statement. Next, if you look at negation of for some x P of x, which is logically equivalent to for all, for some becomes for all, and negation of P of x becomes P of negation of P of x. So this is how we are going to write down the negation statement which involves for some x. Now we are going to write some of the negation statements for some quantified statements. Okay, now this is a very simple problem. If A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it is A, capital E. Okay, capital E equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. is a universal set, determine the truth values of each of the following statements. Okay, how we are going to determine the value of this particular quantified statement, truth value of quantified statement. If you look at, for all x which belongs to A, the predicate is x plus 2 is less than 10. So I can write P of x is x plus 2 less than 10. So every value of x that belongs to A, that is, if you substitute the value of x as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then what you are going to get, that is P of x. Okay, now I will find out P of 1, that is 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. So the first statement is true. Second one is x is equal to 2, then 2 plus 2 is 4, that is 4 is less than 10, that is also true. Third one, if x is equal to 3, then 3 plus 2 is 5, that is also true. If x is equal to 4, then 4 plus 2 is equal to 6, that is also true. And the last one, 5 x plus 2, that is 5 plus 2 is 7, is also true. That is, all these values are true. That is, P of x is true for all the value of x that belongs true. Correct now? So hence the truth value of this is set true. Truth value of this is true. Okay. Next we will see. For some value of x that belongs to A, x plus 2 is equal to 10. Whether it is true or false. I'll take q of x as x plus 2 is equal to 10. If you look at the values of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like if you substitute x is equal to 1, you will get 3. If x is equal to 2, you will get 4. X is equal to 3, you will get 5. X is equal to 4, you will get 6. X is equal to 5, 7. All these are all not equal to 10. That is, 3 is not equal to 10, 4 is not equal to 10, 5 is not equal to 10, 6 is not equal to 10, 7 is not equal to 10. So none of the values are equal to RHS. So Q of x is false for every value of x that belongs to A. So hence this truth value of q of x is false. By chance, if there is one value which is equal to 10, say for example if A contains 8, so only for this particular statement 8 plus 2 is equal to 10. That is, in that case 1 is true, but for all these values are false, so then also the truth value of q of x is set true. This is one simple example which is related to the quantified statement and the corresponding truth values of q of x and p of x for a given particular set. A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the same way, we are going to find out the different truth values and we are going to write down for a given quantified statement, we are going to write down the negation of that particular statement. Okay, so we'll see next problem. Okay, next is P of x is x is greater than or equal to 0. Q of x is x square greater than or equal to 0. R of x is x square minus 3x minus 4 equal to 0. And S of x is x square minus 3x is greater than or equal to 0. Now we need to find out the truth value for particular particular following statements. Z as a set of all integers for reference. Now the first one is for some values of x, p of x and r of x, where the p of x and r of x, both the statements will be true or false. Now z is a set of all x is uh, where x is greater than or equal to 0, and r of x is as x square minus 3x minus 4 equal to 0, and r of x is x minus 4 plus x plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, which indicates x is equal to 4 and minus 1. Now with this particular statement, uh, for x is equal to 4, both the statements are true. P of x is also true, that is x is greater than or equal to 0, and r of x is also true. So that is for some values of x, since it is mentioning it is for some. So for some values of x, that is p of x and r of x, so the value of x for x is equal to 4, this entire statement is true. Okay, so now similarly, for all the values of x, if p then p of x then q of x, that is whenever a p of x is true, then the q of x is also true. That is the the value. Now you take any value of x which is greater than or equal to 0, definitely the x square is greater than or equal to 0. So that is q of x is x square is greater than or equal to 0. No? So which will imply x square is greater than or equal to 0. So then for all the values of x, the quantified statement p of x then r of x is. So this is how you are going to write down the different truth values for a given compound statement. So next is very interesting. You need to write down uh, particular for a particular quantified statement. You have to write down the symbolic form. Then later, for that particular symbolic form, you have to find out the negation. Okay. So now the statement says if all the triangles are right-angled triangles, then the triangle is equiangular. So that means this is of the form first P then Q. Okay. So now let S be an universal set which contains all the triangles. Okay. Now with this particular compound, the quantified statement, I'll write P of x is a right angled triangle, so that I can write for all, okay, for all x is a right angled triangle. So that is what the triangles are, right angled triangles. Then second one, I will take it as Q of x as x is an equiangular triangle. Okay. So now if I write this in the symbolic form for all the triangles, x being a triangle. Okay. So for all x, P of x, all the triangles are a right angle triangle. Then, so that is then. No triangle is equiangular, meaning all the triangles are not equiangular. Okay. So that is for all x, not equiangular, or no triangle is equiangular. So no negation of q of x. With this, I can write this particular is symbolic form is of the form P then Q. Okay. Now I know that P then Q is negation of P R Q, logically equivalent to negation of P R Q. Okay. Now what I need to, I have this particular statement. Okay. I need to write down negation of this. So negation of P then Q, that is logically equivalent to this. If you apply De Morgan's theorem here, negation of negation, that is P, and or becomes and, then negation of Q. Negation of Q. So with this, what is the statement? For all x, P of x, and negation of Q is what? Negation of Q is what? So for this, for all becomes for some. So negation of Q of x, already negation is there. So negation of negation is Q of x. So now for this particular statement, if I write in the word statement form, all the triangles are right angle triangles. So that is for all x, P of x. And so only for some, there are some triangles which are equiangular. There are some triangles which are equiangular. So this is how we are going to write down certain statements which are true. Okay, we'll see next one. Another one. Write down the following propositions in a symbolic form and the negation. Okay, for all integers n, if n is not divisible by 2, then n is odd. So I'll assume z is set of all integers. Okay, with this I'll take one which is divisible by 2. So that is p of n, which is the number is divisible by 2. Then n is odd. Okay, I will take q of n is the number is odd. Okay, with this I can write the symbolic form for all integers for all n. Okay, if n is not divisible by 2, that is negation of p of n, because I have taken number is divisible by 2 is p of n. So if it is not divisible by 2, that is negation of p of n, then q of n. So then n is odd. So negation of this particular statement is for all becomes for some. Then this negation of this. We know that P then Q is negation of P or Q. So then we have for this, if I apply here, so for some n, negation of this. Okay, so this becomes for some n, negation of P of n. Okay, or becomes and, then this is again negation of Q of n. So with this statement, what can I write? There some exist, some integers n, where n is not divisible by 2 and n is not odd. So this is how we can write some of the statements. Few more examples how to write down and simplify the negation after negating some examples. So for all x, P of x and negation of Q of x, this is the statement. So negation of, so entire compound statement, when you are converting or when you are negating this, for all becomes for some. Okay, then negation of this, so negation of the same old statement which is being given. So now with this I can write negation of x, sorry, for some x, negation of p of x and becomes or. Okay, so then negation of negation, that is q of x. So this is for some. If you want to simplify more, this I can write it as p of x then q of x, since negation of p or q is P then Q, or in this format also, that is P then Q is same as negation of P or Q. Okay, so next statement is one more problem we are going to solve. uh, for some negation of, for some x, P of x, or inside this is P of x then R of x. Okay, now when you write this one, since there is no brackets are given for this, what I will do is, for negation to apply negation, for all, sum becomes for all x, negation P of x, and this entire statement. Okay, now I can write P of x or Q of x. I can take it as bracket one. For all x, okay, I'll remain same. Negation of inside, I have not taken inside it. Negation of this is of the form P then Q is negation of P or Q. So negation of this. Okay, negation of P of x or Q of x, then R of x. Now if you take inside this entire thing, for all negation of negation, that is this P of x or Q of x, this is applying double negation. R becomes and R of x becomes negation of R of x. Okay, so now we'll go ahead with another problem, which is a very important problem. For the following statement, write down the converse, inverse, and contrapositive of a particular statement. Okay, so the inverse consists of, the inverse set is consists of all integers. Okay, now if m divides n and n divides p, then m divides p. This is the statement. Okay, right. So now if you write down P is equal to P of m n, I will write one quantified statement as P, capital P, and m comma n, which indicates m divides n. So that is first statements, if m divides n. Similarly, n divides p, so I will take it as n divides p. Okay, and this as m divides p. Okay, so now if you write down the converse of, what is the statement? P divides, if m divides n and n divides p, so that is, the statement is P and Q then R. This is the proposition. The converse of this is what? R then P, R then P, so that is the converse. That is, if it is P then Q, then converse of that is Q then say P. Okay, so now with this, the statement, what is that statement? If m divides P, then m divides n, m divides n, and n divides, okay, n divides P. Now inverse of this is negation of P and Q, then negation of R. So applying De Morgan's theorem here, negation of P R and becomes R, negation of Q, then R. If I write this statement, if M does not divide N, Q is N divides P. If N does not divide P, then M does not divide P. So this is what the second statement. Then the third one is contrapositive is, this is the statement. Negation of R, then negation of P and Q, which implies negation of R, then negation of this statement, that is negation of P or negation of Q. Okay, which is if M does not divide P, if M does not divide P, then M does not divide N or N does not divide P. So this is how we are going to write down the converse of a particular uh, statement, inverse statement and contrapositive of a particular statement. Okay, we'll see next one more problem. Find whether the following argument is a valid argument or not with the universe representing the set of children. Okay, so for everything you need to have a certain universal set. Here it is set of children. No educated children is bad in behavior is one statement. Prasad is not bad in behavior is another. Prasad, therefore, Prasad is an educated student. So this is another statement. Now with these two, you are going to decide whether this you are going to obtain or not. Okay, so usually when you see this particular statement, I'll consider S being a universal set of all children. Okay, so no, I will take it as like X is an educated child, P of X, and X is bad in behavior, so which is combined both the statements here. So now when I take child, it is X, but here some specific name is taken in the data, so that is why Prasad is not bad in behavior, so I can write it using another variable, say Y. Okay, so now if I write the statements in symbolic form, no educated child is bad in behavior. That is, all the children are educated and they are not bad in behavior. So that is what the statement is. Okay. Now this statement, if I write for all x belongs to S, P then X. That is, if all the students are educated, then they are not bad in behavior. The meaning is that one. Okay, so now I have written for all x, P of x, then negation of Q of x. Okay, so now Prasad is not bad in behavior. So what I have taken is Y, and behavior is related to this. So I can write it as negation of Q of Y. Okay. So next is Prasad is an educated student. So that is related to P. I can write it as therefore P of Y. Now this is my statement. I need to check whether this is correct or not. So what I need to do is to conclude this and this. If I perform, I should get this. To if the particular statement or quantified statement is an invalid argument. Now, for all x belongs to S, it indicates even y is also belonging to S. Okay. So now for this particular statement, I can write P of y, then negation of Q of y, and also this particular statement negation of Q of y. Now you simplify this with AND operator. P of y, then negation of Q of y, and negation of Q of y does not give this P of y. You apply any rule, any laws, you will not get P of y, so which is here. Hence this is not an valid argument. Okay, now this is another typical problem. Okay, prove the following argument is valid where C is a specification element. So for all x P of x then Q of x, for all x Q of x then R of x, negation of R of C, so that therefore negation of P of C. This is what the set of statements which are being given, and these are all called as premises, and this is called as a conclusion. Now we know that for all P of x then Q of x, since C is an element of S, I can write with this P of C then Q of C. Okay, so this is, I'll call it as equation number 1. And same thing we have this one also. For all Q of x then R of x, since C belongs to this, I can write Q of C then R of C. I'll call this as equation number 2. So now I have to perform this and this and this. Okay, so the procedure is you can perform these first two AND operation, get the result, you perform AND with the third one, or you perform AND operator with this, get the value, then you find out with this. So anything is say fine. So this is what equation number 1, and this I'll call it as 2. Okay, now with this and this I can look at the equation 1 and 2. I can P of C then R of C. If you look at P of C to Q of C, Q of C to R of C, you apply law of Silazim, you will get directly Q of C, Q of C. So with this I am getting R of P of C then R of C. Now the result of first two, the result of AND of this two is P of C to R of C. Now with that I have to find out the AND with this negation of R of C. Okay, now so here I will call this as equation 3. Now P of C and R of then R of C and negation of R of C. So now with this I can directly write negation of P of C, which is model tollens, the rule of model tolerance, that is P then Q, then negation of Q is same as negation of Q. So that is what the one of the rule of modulus tolerance. So hence I am getting the last one, so that this is called as the following argument is a valid argument. Okay, similarly we'll solve one more problem. So for all x, p of x or q of x, then negation of for some x, negation of p of x, then for all x, negation of q of x or r of x, and for all x, s of x, then negation of r of x, then therefore for some value of x it is this one minus negation of x. So you have to perform this and this and this and this, and you should get this to be a valid argument. So the procedure is, or you can do these two first, get some result, these two first, get these two results, then you operate AND operator. This is one option. Or you perform these two first, get these two with AND operator, get the resultant value, find with this. So any option is okay or acceptable. Now look at this particular problem. Let S be an inverse and A be a specification element of S. Okay, fine. So now we have for all x, P of x is first statement I am taking. So for this I can write for A belongs to S. So that is P of A is A or Q of A. I will call this as equation 1. Second one is I can write for some x, negation of P of x. So since A belongs to S, I can write negation of P of A. I will call this as equation number 2. Now I'll combine and 1 and 2. Okay, that is P of A or Q of A, and this A is equal to Q of A. Q of A, because you apply rule of inference, you will get this. Okay, now in the resultant of these two is you got Q of A. Now I will go ahead with the next two statements. Okay, so for all x, negation of Q of x or R of x means I can write for some value E of x is this one. Okay, now what I am doing is the resultant of these two is Q of A, and the operation with this I will perform. Okay, this is 3 and 4. So what I will get? Q of A and negation of Q or R A. Now if you look at negation of P or Q is same as P then Q. So with this I can write Q of A, okay, and negation of Q of A, R of A gives you R A. That is again law of you apply some law which is related to rule of inference. So I am getting R of A. With the last statement, this is the last statement, I can write S of A, then negation of R of A. Okay, now we will see applying P then Q on 6, P then Q on 6. So what you will get? So negation of, what is the statement? It is a contrapositive statement for this. I have applied this and I am getting this particular statement 7. Okay, now with 5, which is the last statement after combining with 3 and 4, I got equation number 5. Now I left out with, and the last statement is 7. Okay, I'll perform AND operator with this R of A and and R of A, then R negation of S of A, which will give you negation of S of A. So since S is a particular element of S, I can write in general for some value of X, negation of S of X. So that is how this we are going to prove. Okay, there is last concept which talks about proof of theorems. So that is any statement or any compound statement which is given that can be proved in 3 different ways. Okay, so we will say what are those three different types. So let P and Q be two different propositions, and P then Q is written as first one is T, then F, then it is F, otherwise it is true. So we represent these 3 methods of proof using some rules of inference and laws of logic. So first method, direct method, where we'll assume that P is true, then we will show that Q is also true. Okay, so then we'll conclude that P then Q is true. So it is direct method. Another one is second one is indirect method or indirect proof. We will take like negation of Q is true, okay, which is equivalent to P, where P is true. Okay, that is Q is false. Okay, what is the meaning this negation of Q? You take any value P, the negation of that, okay, is Q is false, and we establish that negation of P is also true. So resulting that negation of P, then negation of P being true. So we conclude that P then Q is also true. Okay, the contradiction. Third one is proof by contradiction, where we assume that P then Q is true. So which is equivalent to P being true, Q being false. Okay, P then Q, you should get T, F, then it is F. So I will say that it is false. So which is equivalent to P is true and Q is false. Then what we'll do is we'll start Q being a false and establish P is also false. Okay. So actually see P is what? True here. Since P is already true, then what we'll do, there is a contradiction that whether the value of P is true or false. Then we will conclude that P then Q is true. So that is how we are going to prove using contradiction method. Okay. Next, we will see one example how to use these 3 proofs. Give a direct proof, indirect proof, and proof by contradiction for the following particular statement. So the statement is if n is odd integer, then n plus 9 is an even integer. This is what the statement is. So I will take P is 1, Q is another one, where P is n is an odd integer and n plus 1 is an even integer. With a direct proof, n is an odd integer. Okay, it implies that n is equal to 2r plus 1 for any r belongs to z. Okay. Now directly what I can do is n plus 9. What I will get n plus 9? N is 2r plus 1 plus 9. So which is equivalent to 2r plus 9. So I can write it as 2r plus 5, which I will call it as m, where for some r plus 5 belongs to z. You take any value of r. Okay, you take any r plus value that always belongs to into 2 means always it will be even number. So n plus 9 is 2m, so implies that n plus 9 is an even integer. Okay, so that is why I have written here 2m. So with this directly I can write that if n is an even odd number, then definitely n plus 9 is an even number, which is a direct way of proving that n plus 9 is even. So next is indirect proof. So here what we are going to assume, negation of q is true or p is true and q is false. This is how we are going to prove. So p is n is an odd integer, and I will take that n plus is 9 is also an odd integer. Then p then q, that is p I will show it is true, then q is as false. Okay. So now if you look at this particular statement, n plus 9 in the previous problem with this is 2r plus 1. So because it is an odd integer what we have considered. So r n is equal to 2r plus 1 minus 9. Hence it is 2r minus 8, which is equivalent to 2r minus 4 for this. So which is equivalent, which is a negation of this particular statement because it is an even. Now I am getting is 2m is an even number. So it is equivalent to negation of q statement. So negation of q, then negation of p is true. Correct? So with this what we can say, negation of p, then negation of q is logically equivalent to p then q. So hence p then q is true. So that is how we are going to prove. Then last one is proof by contradiction. So this is, we'll assume that p then q is false. Okay, then ultimately we are going to prove that p then q is true. So with this p then q is false means what? This is t, this is f, then only the resultant value is f. So with this, what is the notion? That is p is true, q is false. Okay, so with this the statement is p is an odd integer and q is an odd integer. So with this n plus 9 equal to 2r plus 1, and I am getting 2r minus 8, which is equal to 2r into bracket 2 into bracket r minus 4, which is equal to 2m, and which is, you know uh, an even integer. So that is n is an even integer which contradicts the proposition of p, that is n is odd integer. So whenever there is contradiction, I will say p then q is true. So this is how you are going to prove for any problem by using these three methods.